So that was the bass line for the track What Is Hip from Tower of Power, and of course the bass player is the fantastic legendary bass player Francis Rocco Prestia. So if you haven't heard of him, you should really check out some of the Tower of Power stuff. It's some amazing playing, amazing time feel, amazing technical playing. It's just really cool stuff to check out, and obviously as well as learning some vocabulary and some note choices to move around different chords, you're also going to learn some really cool technical exercises as well. So let's get straight into the bass line. There's a document for you to download that has a complete analysis and transcription of the bass line with tablature. So you can download that now or have it up on the screen so you can follow along with this lesson just while we're talking about it, so you can use it as a reference. And I'm just going to point out, like I said, some technical exercises that you can get out of this, and also we're going to look at the harmony and the note choices that he has. Okay, so you can notice that this bass line is full of 16th notes, and one thing I want to point out about his technique is he tends to play with the first finger of the left hand and moves it around the fret in a linear way, and he uses these other three strings to kind of mute the sound, so you get this kind of effect. Really cool kind of effect there. And one exercise that you can do is just play linear across each string, just 4/16 notes, alternating 1 and 2 with the right hand. Use 2/16 notes, and the tempo of this track is like 102 beats per minute, so you can kind of work your way up to that. And we'll get into some other technique exercises as we move on. So let's get straight into the notes that he's playing here. So there's a 16th note anticipation into the groove here, so we're just going to call the anticipation into the groove, we'll call that groove point bar 1. So it's all 16th notes the whole way here. Bar 2, we have like a slight movement up the octave, so it's 2 beats of 16th notes. Then we have this like movement here. It just creates some kind of funk to the playing. And then kind of uses that open E string to continue the line. So in bar 3, again is a 16th note anticipation, and that's when he starts moving around the chord here. So the chord is E7, so for the first beat it's just a root, then he starts going up to the flat 7th, pivoting between the root and different notes from this scale. So flat 7, root, then 6, root, and then we have this flat 7 targeting the root. Okay, so another exercise you can do is just basically play the Mixolydian scale. Using only your first finger. So it's a really good exercise there. So bar 4, again we're starting on the root here, and then down to the 3rd, and then just targeting the 5th degree there. So this bass line is a lot of like kind of gospel kind of sound, so it's he's using this kind of approaches. So from bar 5, what's happening is just basically repeating the first 4 bars. There's a tiny little variation, but the momentum and the intention of the bass line is pretty much the same thing. So from bar 5 we have that 16th note anticipation. Bar 6, bar 7, this is where the rhythms start to break up a little bit. So let's have a look at that bar 9. We have an E7, starts off with the 4/16 notes, the first one anticipated, beat 2, 8th note followed by 2/16 notes that tie over the beat 3, then an 8th note to 2/16 notes, and then beat 4 we have the 2/16 notes followed by an 8th note. So if we want to count that, so it's 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and to play that, root up an octave, down the octave, and that B could be viewed as the 5th of the chord or also a target for the next chord, which is a C major. And the rhythms here is just 4/16 notes, beat 2, a dotted 8th note followed by a 16th note tied over to beat 3, the second 16th note, 3/16 notes there, and then beat 4 is 2/16 notes followed by an 8th note. So if we want to clap out the rhythms of bar 10, 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and the harmony is just roots, this open E, which is the 3rd of the chord, and then 5 to the 1. Okay, the next bar is back to the E7, so it starts off with 4/16 notes followed by an 8th note, 2/16 notes, and then beats 3 and 4, 2/16 notes followed by an 8th note. So over an E7 we have the root up an octave, then down to this 3rd, and this A is just basically a passing note to take us to this B, which is the root of B7, and I'm just playing that with all first finger. So the rhythm, beat 1, 16th note, 8th note, 16th note, beat 2, 4/16 notes, beat 3, 16th note rest followed by 3/16 notes, beat 4, 16th note rest followed by 16th note and an 8th note. So to clap out that, 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and okay, to play it on the bass, it's just a root, flat 7th, targeting back up to the root, again repeats, and then beat 4 is just basically this B, and I'm using this open D string to take us back to the E7. Now the E7, yeah, so the E7, it's just basically root. So let's look at the rhythms first. 16th note, 8th note, 16th note, 4/16 notes, 16th note rest followed by 3/16 notes, beat 4, 16th note rest followed by 3/16 notes. Now in the Tony Gray Bass Academy there are tons of lessons on sight reading, so if you're really having a hard time with these syncopated rhythms, you can check out some of the courses and lessons in there. So to clap out, which bar is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Bar 13. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and the notes, E, targeting that root again from the flat 7th again, and then F sharp 7, basically the same rhythm, same concept, targeting the root from the flat 7th, and then we get into this G7 that has a lot of syncopation. So it's just basically root 3rd, then targeting the 5th, using these upbeats, then back to that E for the kind of the theme of the whole bass line, and basically the concept is here. We're getting that kind of gospely bluesy sound. And the way you would count that is 2/16 notes followed by a 16th note rest, followed by a 16th note, followed by a 16th note rest, followed by a 16th note, 16th note rest, 16th note, 16th note rest, then 3/16 notes in beat 3, beat 4, 2/16 notes followed by an 8th note. So to clap that out, 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. Next bar, 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. Next bar, same rhythm again, 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. So let's play over that G7. Again, I'm using all first finger here. And then the last bar here takes us back to the beginning. And the way you would count out that last bar, 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. Okay, so there's a lot of cool stuff going on there, which would take us back to the top. Okay, so I hope you got something out of that lesson. Don't forget to join us next week, where we're going to be looking at another bass line and we're going to break it down. And don't forget to join our mailing list for more information, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.